Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 5 of Empower Your Path 30 Days of Self Leadership with me, your coach, Elizabeth Johnston. If you'd like to join for free, all you have to do is go to bit.ly/self leadership 2024. Self leadership is all one word, lowercase, and fill out the survey questions at the wait list that you'll see once you click through on that link. And today is day 5, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about values. Now, I know that, if you're an entrepreneur, you probably have gone through some activities to understand what your values are so that there's an alignment between what you're doing in your business and who you are, and basically how to know yourself so that, and in your business, so that you can get clarity on your niche and your avatar. And I'm a big proponent of doing this values exercise to understand yourself more as a first start. You really can't advance in your business, outwards unless you're doing the inner work. And so this 30-day journey of self-leadership is to help you bring those two bookends together, because sometimes we have them in completely different compartments in our life, our personal life and our professional life, or we don't even really focus on our professional life at all because we're just so focused and busy in our business. And it's great to be having this all-consuming passion for the business, but that's not all who you are. And so understanding what your values are can actually really help you in creating more of a balance in your life and pay more attention to other areas of your life. And so one of the, my values is creativity. And I'd like to ask you, when was the last time that you actually wrote down what your values are and to demonstrate them in your life? Because I think it's easy to say like, oh, this is important to me or that's important to me. But how do we actually show up in our lives to demonstrate that? And the way that I talk to about this concept to my clients is, think about watching a film, a feature film, a fiction film, and the characters act in a certain way, they talk in a certain way, they dress in a certain way. And then we say like, oh, they're an introvert, or oh, they're an extrovert, or oh, they really believe in creativity, or family is really important to them. And you notice in films that nobody ever, stands there, unless you're in a Woody Allen film. Nobody ever stands there and addresses the camera and say, stopping the storyline and say, by the way, I'm the kind of a person that believes in X, Y, and Z, right? We glean this information from, like I say, how they speak, how they dress, how they act, what they're doing, how they react. And so there we are in our cinema seats back in the day, and we say like, oh, that person is grieving. Oh, that person is looking forward to something. So we make these assumptions and judgments based on what they're doing. So think about you and imagine yourself in some kind of a film. So when you show up at work, or when you show up for coffee with friends or whatnot, like, if that were a film, if that was a scene in a film, what could you say about your values, about what's important to you? And so for me, one of my values is creativity. I've specifically expressed that through writing. And as long as I can remember, I love reading, I loved writing, I loved performing plays that I would write. And the next thing you know, there I have an honors BA in creative writing and humanities, and then later a master's in screenwriting. And then I'm teaching in those disciplines for most of the next 20 years or so. And socially, when I would meet people and inevitably say, "So what do you do?" And I would tell them that teach people all different types of story, whether it's in poetry or children's literature or memoir and life writing, screenwriting. And now I focus mainly on business communication, which is also a different type of writing. And but for most of my teaching career, I was teaching in those creative subjects. And so when I would share that with people, they say, "Wow, it must be so great teaching those creative subjects," as if to say that maybe they're teaching in some other subject or have another 9 to 5 job, and maybe that's not so exciting as they imagine, teaching those creative topics are. And I'd nod my head and smile and agree. But after hearing that for the fourth or fifth time, I started thinking to myself, like, wow, it's funny that so many people think that what I do is maybe better than what they do, or more fun, or more creative. And I thought to myself, is it so great? Is it so creative for myself personally? And generally speaking, I'd have to say my answer is no. I mean, the way that I help people own their creativity, and that's the name of business, Own Your Creativity. I did that in inventive and fun and even creative ways to help people understand my topic and how to embrace it and apply the principles of story that I was teaching them. But I really thought about it. No, I didn't find it any more creative than maybe when I was working as a secretary. And I thought to myself, wow, why is that? And I realized that, yes, I was being creative in certain ways, but it didn't really touch me in a deep way in my creativity, my personal creativity. And so I thought to myself, wow, why haven't I been exercising and cultivating my own creativity? Why aren't I owning my creativity? And I realized that, after a while, certain jobs are just jobs. They're 9 to 5 jobs. And they can be all consuming, though. When you're working for somebody else, they demand a lot from you. There's deadlines, there's, different projects that you're working on or whatnot, different responsibilities. And in the teaching world, in the academic world, there are also extracurricular things that you have to do. There's tons of marking that you do outside of class. There is meetings and, all sorts of things, that are piled on top of your main job in academia. And over the years, I realized that my responsibilities in my job had become so much that I pushed everything else away out of my life. And that's when I realized that I was feeling burnt out. And so for me, what I decided to do was I had to make room for creativity in my life to get back to who I really was. And so I, took this self-leadership decision of prioritizing my own creativity. And so in the process, I've written a book. I traveled widely for the research for that book, and I have written for tons of magazines and newspapers and online journals. And I also wrote several poems and had them published. And then one of those poems, I turned that into a video poem, which is this really cool thing that I didn't know existed until a few years ago. And then I thought, wow, this would be so cool to do. So I did that, and that video poem was shortlisted in 2 film festival competitions. So, so I made room in my life for creativity. And what I realized is that when I do that, everything else in my life feels better. and the burnout disappeared almost immediately. And it's because I'm making room for who I really am and my values. In this case, my value of creativity in particular. And some people have values of like giving back, and so if that's one of your values, what are you doing in your life? If you take a look in the last month, 3 months, 6 months, what have you been doing that if that was a scene in a film and somebody was watching it and they would say, giving back is important to this person, right? Are you doing things? Are you demonstrating your values? And I really encourage you to start thinking more about that. And today's activities and prompts are going to give you that opportunity to do that. Because the things that are important to us, they are things that reconnect us to our soul and to our life's purpose, and they give our life meaning. And if you just are just working, if that's the only meaning in your life, when you quit that job, when you retire, you're going to be in a bit of a pickle because now what? And so I can go on and on about that aspect of it, but I'd like to keep this short for you today. But just really understanding the importance of your values, articulating them for yourself, and maybe come up with a top 5. And in my program, I actually have an activity that helps you determine what your values are, and then how to demonstrate them in your life. But for now, just start thinking about your own values. And like I say, the activities for today are going to help you with that. And yeah, I'd love to see what you come up with and what your thoughts are about that. If you'd like to join for free the 30-day self-leadership journey, Empower Your Path, all you have to do is go to bit.ly/self-leadership 2024. And if you participate and leave a comment on at least 21 posts, you'll be eligible for some prizes. And there is another prize for people who do all 30 days. And this is the kind of journey that you can start anywhere. If you're just hearing about this right now on the day 5, that's okay. You're in the perfect time because you can always go back to the first 4 and get caught up. And the daily posts will be on my Facebook page and on LinkedIn. And so you can post on one or the other, but not both, because I'll be tallying up, your participation and keeping track of it that way. And it's just easier if you pick one social media platform over the other. And yeah, so the people who participate and have a minimum of 21 posts, basically you get a guide that's a compilation of all of the 30 days. And this is a really valuable resource that you can refer to, and it'll be a reminder of the self-leadership principles that you've learned. And everyone who gets a perfect score basically gets some one-on-one time with me. Okay. So that's it for today. And Empower Your Path, 30 Days of Self-Leadership, bit.ly/self-leadership 2024. I'm looking forward to seeing your comments. And also, I wanted to mention that these, it's on a public forum. So whatever you're comfortable with sharing, that's what I'd like you to post on the daily post. This is deep work, and it could bring things up that are, raw or emotional. And I want to honor that. And I want you to feel comfortable and safe in exploring those things that pop up for you. And then when you come back to the daily post, you can post whatever you're comfortable with. You can just say your biggest takeaway, your aha moment, something that you liked, the quote of the day, the inspiring quote that I share. Maybe you want to share something about, what you liked about the affirmation. So whatever you're comfortable with sharing, that's what I'd love to see from you there. You don't have to pour out your heart. You don't have to, bare your soul. That's between you and your journal page or, your computer, however you want to explore these concepts every single day. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you come up with and engaging in a bit of a dialogue together between you and me and the other participants that join us along the journey. Okay, so that is it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow for day 6. Take care.